Hi everyone, today we're looking at invoice generation. So invoice generation is a great way to automate the generation of your invoices from invoice templates. And those invoice templates can be automatically populated with various data fields, saving you time. So the first thing you need to do is connect to your accounting provider. And that can be done in workspace settings, as you can see here. So what we do is click on accounting and click on this button. So currently the platform integrates with Xero, although other accounting providers may be added in the future. So all you have to do to connect to Xero is click on this button and authenticate with Xero in the conventional manner. In this example, I am just going to connect to the demo company. Click on Allow Access, and you will be taken back to the same page where you can see that you are now connected and you have the ability to revoke the access token. Here you can see that we're connected to the demo company. And one of the features that you can do is configure multiple branding themes. And these are the themes according to which your invoices will then be generated. As you can see here, we just have 3 example branding themes, and these are configured directly in Xero. Now that you've connected to Xero, you can create invoice templates. So let's go back to the dashboard and let's take a look at the provisional patent. So we click through to the configuration screen for the provisional patent, and configuring invoices can be done here under invoice templates. At present, we don't have any invoice templates, so let's create one. So we want to create an invoice template for the filing of the patent application. So let's call this filing invoice. Now, all invoices have a reference. In this case, I just use the convention of MID, which stands for matter ID, as the prefix, and then the variable, which is the matter ID. So each invoice will be associated with an incrementing matter ID created by the system. So let's click on that. Now you edit each line item individually. So let's create a new line item, and you can see that we have various fields that we can fill in. I'm just going to collapse the sidebar so that we can see that better. So we have a main description field, which is able to take any free text. So let's input filing of the application. And for quantity, we can include 1 typically. For the amount, we can include a dollar amount. Let's just say 1,000. And now for the account code, you would input the account code according to your Xero accounting codes, which would typically be 200, which is the sales account. Under settings, you can also configure your GST settings and the categories to which it is applied. So in this example, we have some arbitrary categories for region. Let me update that. And you will also see that we can create another line and we can invoice the client for the official fees. And the official fees are standard, just let's say $200. That's also under the account code. But what is different about the official fees is that they are GST free. So let's just say that it's GST free, and let's assign it to the same category. Great. So there's a basic invoice template. Before we leave this invoice template screen, I will show you how you can add variables. So I want to make the invoice a bit more descriptive. So I will add some variables. So if I click on this variable selector, I can copy the matter ID, and I will include this under our reference, and I will paste that in, and I will prefix it with MID, and then so that the client is aware of what the invoice is in relation to, we can include the title. And again, I will copy that from the variables and paste that in. Great, so let's save that. It is also possible to include variables for the amounts invoiced. So we could, for example, automatically invoice a client for a quoted amount. So let's quickly create a data field, and I will create a new number, and let's call it quoted amount, and that's for the application category, and let's update that. Now if we go back to the invoice templates and select the filing invoice, what I can do is instead of the amount, I can insert the quoted amount. like that. All right, so let's go back to a matter and let's go back to the better mousetrap. So what we would like to do is for the quoted amount, let's put in an arbitrary amount of $1,800 and update that. Now, to create invoices, you can access them through the menu function and select invoice as I'm doing here and select the template. Great, so you can see that the invoice template automatically populates with the line items that we've configured and the variables are automatically populated, and you'll see that the amount is automatically populated with the variable amount that we have configured for the quoted amount. And for the payer, we can include the client. And here we have two options. If you click on the generate button, it will generate that in your accounting platform, in this case Xero, or alternatively you can generate and download it straight away. So let me click on that and it will generate the invoice, which is then downloaded. And if I click on that, you will see that I have a demo invoice which is generated and which you can send to the client. A useful feature of invoice templates is you can add them on the fly to emails. So if I create an email here, which could be the reporting filing email, I can attach an invoice on the fly. So I will attach the filing invoice, and that's to be paid by Peter James. So when that email is sent, it will automatically be generated with the invoice, and which is added as an attachment to the email. Invoices can be added to automations. So if we go back to the provisional patent configuration screen and to our automations, let's create an automation that says that when we create a matter, we should automatically send the invoice to the client. So let's call this a useful name such as auto send filing invoice to client. And let's just say that when I create a matter, is create an action, and the action is generate an email, and let's create an ad hoc email from the attorney to the client. And for the subject, let's call it filing invoice. And in the text field, we can include a brief ad hoc body for the client. So we can say dear, and then we'll get the client name, copy that, and we can say please find attached your filing invoice. And what we can do is we can attach the filing invoice, and it is to be paid by the client. So now when you create a provisional patent type of matter, it will automatically email the client with an invoice, and specifically the filing invoice, and that invoice will be automatically generated on the fly and synchronized with your accounting system. Another useful feature of integrating with your accounting system is that you can automatically see if the client has any outstanding invoices. So if we go back to the matter type configuration screen, and under the settings, there is an option to show overdue invoices. So let's have a look at that, and let's say if the invoice reference contains, now you'll remember from the previous example we included the matter ID and it had the prefix MID. So let's say if the invoice reference contains MID and the invoice is overdue by 30 days, then it will show up as an outstanding balance. So in this example, I will just include 0, just so that we can use the example of a current balance. Now, if we go back to the matter screen, you will see that the current balance is now shown at the top right here, and you can click on it to refresh it, and you'll see that it's automatically picked up the balance from the invoice that we created. And just to give you an example, if I create another filing invoice, for example, for Peter James, and let's just delete this line item, for example, and just add an example amount of, say, $100, and we generate that. Now, if we click on the balance, you'll see that it has incremented to incorporate the latest amount. So that's it, guys. Today we looked at invoicing, and more specifically, we looked at connecting to your accounting provider, in this case, Xero, We looked at how you can create invoice templates to automatically create invoices, which are synchronized with your accounting platform. We looked at how those invoices can have multiple line items and how that they can include data variables. We looked at how you can create invoices from the matter screen, how you can dynamically attach them to emails, how you can include them in automations, and how you can look at the current balance of any outstanding invoices for your clients. In the next video, we'll be looking at web form submissions.